I'm not gonna hurt you.
Right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. Ballerina isn't a bad movie. It's by far not the greatest thing you'll ever see either, but it gets the job done. It's the kind of film that rolls into a room dressed in John Wick's clothes, strikes a pose, and then nervously asks, "Did I do it right?"
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
This is Diet John Wick, complete with gun fu, grimy neon aesthetics, and half-baked, very minor lore expansions that feels like someone skimmed the Wikipedia page during a NyQuil bender. But it managed to look at films of the same caliber like Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, and not repeat the same mistakes. To its credit, Ballerina knows it's living in the shadows of its much cooler older brother, so instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, it opts for a respectful cosplay. Ana De Armas moves with the elegance of a swan and the kill count of a Navy SEAL with insomnia. And honestly, she's good enough. I mean, she's not landing on my female action hero top 10 anytime soon. Every time she's on screen, you can almost hear the producers muttering, "She's our Keanu, right? Please say she's our Keanu." Ballerina actually takes the time to acknowledge that women are physically weaker than men, and that women of the Ruska Roma are going to have to fight like girls. And you're sitting there thinking, alright, here comes the face scratching and fake crying. Can't wait for her to bust out one of the 3 female finishing moves, telling the bad guy he has a small dick, that his dick doesn't get enough attention from other women, or that his dick prefers the company of other men. But thankfully, she doesn't insult one dick in this movie. All dicks were spared. I don't even think she shot a guy in the dick. She does, however, goes on to fight like a slightly weaker version of J-Dubs. But here's the thing. Lampshading your lead character as the physically weaker sex doesn't magically make the girl believably overpowered. Pointing out the derivative doesn't suddenly make it clever. It's like you fart in an elevator and then say, "Whoops, I farted. Congratulations, you've acknowledged it. We still have to sit in it." But it should be noted that she does get her ass kicked and has a significantly lower body count than Wick. Hell, even them acknowledging the fact that she's physically weaker than men is a welcome loosening of the Mary Sue plot cock Hollywood's been trying to make us deep throat for the last decade. Okay, she can stay. And as a spin-off, does Ballerina expand the John Wick verse? I mean, it's hard to do when the 4 John Wick movies have expanded the franchise to such ridiculous heights. It's starting to approach Fast and Furious levels, if it hasn't already. At this point, the only place the John Wick franchise can go is the International Space Station, where it turns out it's actually a continental hotel, and the assassins have to gun-fu fight in zero gravity. And yeah, as I say that, I kind of realize I want to watch that movie. Think of a less cooler version of Moonraker. Now it's time to backdoor some backstory. Just a raw backdooring with some dirty plot talk. Ana De Armas plays Eve, who was born into assassin royalty. Her dad was one of the Ruska Roma, and her mom's from a murderous cult called The Cult. Which, side note, they couldn't have come up with a better name than a shitty 80s band? Seems like a name placeholder in the script that they never got back to. The Cult, for Christ's sakes. Anyways, Dad tries to get her away from the cult, and boom, Dad dies, Mom's ghosted, and Eve's on the run. Winston, the real thread that binds this whole franchise together, smuggles Eve into the Ruska Roma to be a good all-around girl. She learns ballet and espionage-grade planking and complicated math like sometimes addition means subtraction. For example, 2 bullets to the chest plus 1 in the head equals minus 1 dead guy. Cue 12 years of training montages, emotional baggage, and killing a fellow student to graduate as an assassin. Don't worry, this school shooting is sanctioned. Later, Eve does this whole protecting a billionaire kid gig, gets ambushed by one of those cult assassin types, and realizes, hey, aren't these the same guys who liked my dad far less than usual? She comes to Angelica Houston asking, what does a bitch gotta do to get some revenge? And gets slapped hard with a, you didn't read the small print when you signed, did you? Damn you, terms of agreement. But like every woman, does she listen? No, she's gotta find out the hard way. So she gets into grenade fights, until old Johnny Wick comes looking for her, in the worst sense imaginable.
69, dude!
Now look, I wanted to pay attention to the razor-thin plot like everyone else. I really did. But unfortunately, Ana De Armas spends the entire movie wearing clothes, jackets, pants, tactical gear. At one point, I swear she had on 2 shirts, and that's just irresponsible. It's not even tasteful restraint. It's like someone at the costume department said, what if Jason Bourne wore 2 turtlenecks? All I'm saying is, Give us one gratuitous dressing room scene where she gears up in slow motion. You know, for lore purposes. Shameful, just truly shameful. Do better, Hollywood.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
Of course, comparisons are going to be made between From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, and Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, because Hollywood is officially in its prequel slut era. Ballerina watched Furiosa trip over its own lore-splattered shoelaces for 2.5 hours and said, hey, let's not do that. Where Furiosa spent an entire hour asking you to emotionally invest in baby Furiosa, teenage Furiosa, pre-bald Furiosa, Furiosa's mom, and Furiosa's stump socket origin story, Ballerina just kicks open the door, kills a family, and gets on with the revenge. Unlike Furiosa, or John Wick 4 for that matter, with their padded run times, Ballerina comes in on a virgin-tight 2 hours. The prologue, wrapped up in 20 minutes, like Wetworks was cleaning up a crime scene. CGI? If it's there, it's doing its job, which is more I can say for Furiosa's entire post-production team, which apparently rendered The Wasteland on an old iPad, running Photoshop too. The stunts in Ballerina are actually kinetic chaos. You feel the impact, it's all tactile and brutal. Furiosa, meanwhile, played like a QVC version of Fury Road. Today's special is a high-speed desert chase, but don't worry, it's 93% rendered in a speak and spell. There is a badass flamethrower fight towards the end of this movie, which makes you sit and stroke the old proverbial gray beard and go, ah yes, I do believe this is cinema. Bad guys getting roasted like chestnuts on an open war crime. For 5 minutes, Ballerina becomes the Rammstein music video we all knew it could be. No plot, no dialogue, just flames, violence, and Ana De Armas looking good while doing it. There's zero tactical logic, just pure pyromaniac choreography. It doesn't care about reality, and frankly neither do I. I care about carefully crafted spectacle, and it rules. Ballerina might not rewrite the action genre, but it understood the assignment. Keep it fast, keep it sharp, don't make me sit through a lore wiki, narrated by Chris Hemsworth's schizophrenic war clown character. Director Len Wiseman of Underworld fame knows how to get the audience on board with female action heroes, and does it fairly quickly here too. He understood that while he's telling Eve's story, one mistake would be to not acknowledge the character who built this world. In Furiosa, George Miller basically held up a blurry silhouette of Max from across the desert and whispered, "There he is, now shut up and eat your backstory." It felt less like a cameo and more like a ransom note to fans saying, "We know what you want, but we're deliberately not giving it to you." John Wick isn't just a name dropped, he's baked into the narrative like gunpowder in a birthday cake. John Wick is not front and center, but he shows up and he matters. He interacts, he affects the plot. And he's not some blurry tease like Max, who appears 0.3 seconds just so Warner Brothers could legally slap Mad Max on a poster. Keanu Reeves gets about 10 solid minutes of screen time with an action sequence squeezed in there. More than enough to bless this film, flex the mythology, and remind you who built the temple without hijacking Eve's story. And that's how you do it. Legacy without leeching. Although this was a weird random scene to stick in the middle of the movie.
Can a cock answer an iPhone?
Yes, Valley, but it's gonna be hard.
Okay.
No!
Yes, Ballerina might be tighter, cleaner, and far less annoying than Furiosa, but let's not act like it's rewriting the book of Wick, because at the end of the day, it commits the same Furiosa spin-off sin. It doesn't really expand the John Wick universe, it kind of just marinates in his old assassin juice. Yeah, it gives us the cult, the Assassin's Creed DLC faction that probably listens to Gregorian trap music and eats raw meat from silver platters, but beyond that, there's nothing truly here. There's no seismic shift in the mythology, no game-changing rules, no fresh lens on the high table. It just adds another flavor of sad, sexy death to the buffet of global murder freelancers. But like I said, that's not really Ballerina's fault. The John Wick saga has already expanded its universe so aggressively in 4 films that it's basically become a Dungeons & Dragons campaign with a body count. And at a certain point, you just run out of places to go on Earth. So unless John Wick is going to backflip in the Mariana Trench and fight deep-sea ninjas with pressurized katanas, there's really nowhere to go but space. And I say this again because I really want that to happen. With that said, Len Wiseman made a clean, brutal, well-shot revenge movie that hits hard, it moves fast, and it leaves you before you start checking what time it is. Would I rewatch it? Yeah, sure. If I was bored, which is more than I can say about John Wick 4, where once was enough. Ana De Armas did the work in Ballerina. She trained like a lunatic, sold the physicality, kept her performance restrained and haunted, and looked cool enough to qualify as a walking perfume ad with all the right mental disorders. She managed to anchor the film with quiet intensity, but she wasn't given enough to work with. De Armas is playing Griefbot 9000, another tragic-eyed killer lady wandering through the dimly lit corridors of a club, whispering about pain, loss, and a vague backstory. There's not a ton of range here. Just sadness, stoicism, and stabbing. Rinse and repeat. A reskinned John Wick, but with boobies. She's bringing layered emotions to a script that basically says, they killed your family, go kill their family. Credits. That's not her fault. That's the screenplay handing her a butter knife and asking her to carve a statue. De Armas does what she can, but you can feel her acting around the material instead of through it. It's like someone microwaved a backstory, double turtlenecked Ana De Armas, and hoped her gorgeous smoky eyes would do the rest. Do yourself a favor, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more of my award-winning personality to fix your day. Not that I care about it or anything, but I got you. I'm out of here.